Hi, Huon. Thanks for jumping on this call with me.
Hi, Jaden. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just going to give a quick intro about you, a bit of your background. So, you used to consult as a talent retention specialist for large organizations in the past, and you've deployed some highly sought after programs for company consumption. You joined General Assembly in 2020 as a career coach specializing in technology related career changes. And General Assembly is a pioneer in education and career transformation, and it has over 35,000 grads. So, you're on a winning team and you've lined yourself up with the juggernaut, and you specialize in personal branding, interpersonal skills, confidence building, and you've got some unrivaled industry insights. So I thought you were like the perfect person to chat to, given the rise of digitization and the changing economic landscape, and pretty much the whole world's online and connected, and even digital literacy is being taught or proposed as a core fundamental thing for year 12 students. So I'm just going to ask you some stuff about careers in technology, and yeah, hopefully people get a lot of value from it.
Great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. So first of all, why should someone consider a career in technology?
I think if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that technology is the future, right? Mm-hmm. If this had happened at any other point in history, it would have been a lot harder than it has been. And obviously, when I say it, we all know what I'm referring to. Don't feel the need to name the beast. But 2020 has been a difficult year that has been made significantly easier by technology, like Zoom, like FaceTime, our phones, our calendars. And I think tech really is the future for all of us, because tech will build better products for us, in aged care homes, in, whether we're cleaners, if we're CEOs, whatever we're doing, tech is making our lives easier and is integrated so deeply into all of our lives. So having a skill set in tech is future-proofing yourself.
All right, perfect. So then if people did want to jump into tech, because it's pretty could be overwhelming for some people. So how long would it take someone to develop tech-related skills that they could charge for? Or how much studying do they need to do to get to a point where they could be employed for something or contracted out?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think there's no one answer, right? So we all know, those geniuses who started things like Facebook, or, Atlassian, to use an Australian example, people who just developed tech skills through curiosity. And for the most part, without formal education in tech, it was just that curiosity and that interest, right, that allowed them to establish these great products or businesses or brands that have changed the world in one way or another. So how long do you need to study is dependent upon who you are, I think. So obviously at General Assembly, we have 12-week immersives, so you get 480 contact hours. And most of our students would probably, across those 12 weeks, do, I would say, a minimum of 100 hours, like unsupervised as well. And our graduates are certainly able to go out and get tech careers. But I think it's not necessarily a matter of time or contact or formal education in tech. I think what's important is if you know where to look for information. So if you've gotten to a point where you've felt what it feels like to write some code that works or write some code that fails, and you know what those feelings look like, and you know where to go to get the answer when you can't find it within yourself, then you're ready. And the same in any kind of tech, whether you want to be a designer, a developer, you want to be with artificial intelligence, you want to be doing blockchain, whatever it is. If you've failed something disastrously, and if you've had a bit of a success and you know what those things feel like, and you like that feeling, because there's a lot of failure in tech, it's important, and you've got to fail fast. So lean into that, be confident enough to lean into that, and know how to Google the next steps, then you're ready, and someone will hire you.
Do you think that anyone could sort of develop tech skills like they could with like maths or English?
Yeah, absolutely. I think tech is very learnable. Confidence is the most important part of all of this, just like it is in any career. You have to believe that you can do it and that you're worthy of it. So you got to work on trusting yourself.
Right, perfect. I've just got a few more questions for you. So how would someone stand out given the rise or given the demand for tech people now? How do they sort of stand out and differentiate themselves?
Yeah, I think that's where, like, so what I would say to my students is this is where you get hired for who you are rather than what you are. So if you're currently learning how to code at home and you're using, you know, your lockdown time really constructively, good for you. But you need to also know who you are and what that brings to the job marketplace. So are you, you know, are you really funny? Are you really zany? Are you really shy? Are you really creative? Like, who are you and who does that employer get? Do they get someone who's going to make Zoom calls way more fun and way more inclusive? What extra value do you add to a business? So to your earlier question, is it something anyone can learn like maths or English? Absolutely, yes, it is. And because of that, because anyone can do it, who you are is your point of difference. So you need to also simultaneously be working on that and figuring out, is this a company that aligns with who I am? Is this where I want to work? Are these my people? Because I can promise you as a career coach, once you find people who like you for you and a place where you like yourself, you are unstoppable, and they'll hire you even when your tech skills aren't, you know, top notch yet, because of your potential and because passion sells. So find what you love and love it and just do it all the time. And like, I don't want to say that everyone has to work in the thing they're the most passionate about. You might be the most passionate about reading comics on the couch. But if you don't hate coding and you enjoy when you have some success, then find the people who read the comics that you read and do that in your workplace, and you'll be very happy for a long time.
Oh, sweet. So you sort of touched on one of the other questions I had, which was about what are the most sort of important attributes of a person? So would they be better off if they were extroverted or introverted or creative? I know that creativity is one of the big things that are happening in sort of year 12s as well. They're trying to develop those skills. So
yeah, it's all important, and you shouldn't aim to be anyone other than who you are, but you do need to be really clear on who you are. So for example, I'm incredibly extroverted and loud, so loud, and my outfits are very loud. You can't have a workplace with a bunch of Huons. And I know, Jaden, that you also have a big, bold personality and we get along really well. But I think if we worked together day in and day out, our boss might hate us, right?
yeah,
So we, like, excellent teams are built up of all types of people. And that's where knowing who you are and presenting that really, really truly to that organization gives them the opportunity to see who they're getting in their team and that point of difference. So they can say, well, we've got a Jaden and we've got, you know, the comic book guy from The Simpsons. What we need is someone who can help those two people speak to each other. And you've applied and you're really empathetic and creative and quietly confident. You're going to be great because Jaden's going to love speaking with you. And so is the comic book guy from The Simpsons. And we're going to build a really strong team. So it doesn't matter who you are. You just have to know who that is and bring it really authentically to the table.
So, okay. So it really helps if people can identify sort of their personality traits, their values, their philosophies, all that type of stuff.
Absolutely essential in all careers. And I think people forget this in tech careers because they say, like, well, I'm excellent at this one skill or this other skill over here. It's essential that you know who you are and that you've spent some time reflecting on that. Like, how do you feel when you win? How do you feel when you lose? What do you consider to be success? What do you consider to be a failure? What do you love? What do you hate? You know, do you love a manager who says you've done it wrong, never do it wrong again? Do you perform under that kind of stress? Or do you like a manager who's more gentle encouragement, you know? What works for you? Do you need a workplace where you can come in at 11 and leave at 11? Or do you like a workplace where you can come in at 7 and leave at 4? Like, what works for you? Figure it out and be really, really clear about it, because clarity is helpful for all humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Which is why this environment's so cooked, because it's just uncertainty everywhere.
Exactly.
I've got another question for you, and it's probably hyper relevant because it's sort of juxtaposing the old school traditional resume with the new world. Do you think that the traditional resume works well?
No, I don't. I think this is so offensive to my job as a career coach, where I look at a lot of people's resumes. I think a resume is an essential tool when you're job hunting, everyone. Don't think I don't. I just hate it, and I wish it wasn't. I think they are irrelevant and redundant and very old. And I know that when I'm making hiring decisions, I could not care less about your resume. It's like filling in a tax form, you know. If I've said in the job ad, I want you to be good at A, B, and C, and your resume tells me you're good at A, B, and C, I haven't learned anything. I'm bored. So personally, I love a cover letter, or, you know, I love a video application because I also work as a presentation coach. So that's something I'm quite familiar with. I love when people get out of the box. I love when people go crazy, but you can't. I also know what it feels like to be job hunting, and you can't do that for every single job application. So do I like resumes? No. Are they essential? Yes. And are people in the tech space expecting a resume? Absolutely they are. But I think more and more people are starting to really expect a personal website as well. So whatever kind of tech you do, a personal website is becoming an essential tool.
Yeah, I think the videos are a cool thing. And you shared something on your LinkedIn last week, which was an interactive resume, which I never saw before. And you pretty much had to play a game to get to the next sections. That was really creative and cool.
As a kid who grew up with Mario, that made me deeply, deeply happy.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think, so I just got one more question to finish up. What are your 2 biggest career tips from your whole career in being a career coach?
Yeah, totally. So my 2 biggest career tips are this. Number 1, get feedback. So when you've made a resume, when you've made a website, if you make a, interactive cover letter, resume, website thing like Jaden and I are discussing, get a variety of feedback, because you might show it to someone like me who loves it, but I don't represent every single person in the tech recruitment space. And if you and I don't get along, you know, particularly well, or we wouldn't work well on a team together, my feedback is invalid. Who cares? So get a variety of feedback. And part of that comes with, like, get used to feedback. Sometimes, or often, feedback can feel really hurtful and bad because most people aren't taught how to deliver constructive feedback. But if you yourself know, you know, I'm good, I'm important, I deserve feedback, and you can take it as feedback instead of criticism, there is always opportunities to grow in feedback. So get feedback from a variety of sources, and use the search for feedback as a way to start a conversation and show your passion and show your interest, because I guarantee you that jobs are attached to people. So if you see a job advertised on a big job platform and you send in your resume, you have about a 4% likelihood of getting that job. 4. So a 96% likelihood of not getting that job. So you should...
Pre-COVID or during COVID?
Always.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's probably gone down during COVID, to be honest, because people are kind of craving conversation. So reach out to them for feedback, show them what you've got, start a conversation. And it's not to say they'll necessarily be able to hire you, but they might know someone who can. So seek feedback and start conversations. And then my other piece of advice would be to do your research. Research yourself. You know, we've gone over this, and I feel like part of my job is just telling people again and again and again, who are you? Get to know yourself, and then tell me when you know. But do your research on yourself, and then do your research on the companies you're applying for, or if that company doesn't exist yet, who can start it? Who can you start it with? Figure out what that company stands for, why they're in business, who their target customer is, and is that a place you're going to be happy? Because I know from personal experience, you can get jobs with those companies when they're not advertising if you love what they do as much or more than they do. Like, enthusiasm and passion sell. And you don't have to be extroverted. You don't have to be the most colorful person in the room. You don't have to be the most creative. If you care the most, businesses need people who care. You know, that's where they find success, and that's where customer service gets better, and that's where the team gets stronger. If you have one vision that is aligned and you're on board with that, I'd want to work with you. So do your research and figure out, you know, what works for you.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for dispersing all that knowledge to me and everyone that watches it. I appreciate your time, and I'll catch you soon.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right. See ya.